subscribe. Tariq Radio. Like and subscribe.
What's up, James? How are you?
You know, I'm not doing too good. And the reason why is because I think that we've finally crossed the threshold. Okay? I think essentially that yes, you're going to have like 1% of the population who are they're just anti-black. They're anti-whatever. Okay? And I hear you. I've heard you. I've heard you as a man, you know, trying to struggle in society or whatnot. But what I love about you is your passion for your people.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I get it. I understand. But Martin Luther King did not mean what you're trying to say over and over again. And what he wanted was unity.
You lost me. Okay, explain that, please.
That's what I was trying to do.
Go ahead.
What he wanted was unity. Okay? Honestly, I can't even see Martin Luther King today if he was still alive, for example, as a Democrat. I couldn't see him asking for anything more than what he asked for to begin with.
And what was that?
It was unity.
Now,
he wanted equal rights for all people.
Right. Now, James, you do understand that Dr. King, right before he died, also wanted reparations for foundational Black Americans. Did you know that?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
I did know that.
And do you agree? Did you agree with him when he said that?
I'm on the fence on that.
Oh, see, you want to be selective. See, you can't sit here and say,
no, I'm not trying to be selective. I have a reason. I have a very good reason for that.
What is that reason, James?
Okay. If in fact you were sold, your people were sold into a slavery at the time, okay? You're sold into slavery by your own people.
Uh-oh.
By your own people. Okay?
Our own people?
Yes.
Foundational Black Americans didn't sell other foundational Black Americans.
Did African Americans, or excuse me, did Africans not? Did they not?
Some, but they were not our
sell you into slavery.
Some, but they're not our people. They were already Black people here.
No, you can't say some.
Mm-hmm.
The device is the device. And that's exactly where it went. Okay? And unfortunately, there were some very, very bad people amongst the 13 colonies.
But no, let's slow down. Let's slow down, because if you're gonna
No, we don't have to slow down.
Oh no, because I want to tackle what you're saying, because see, you're talking
okay,
about
you can interject at any time. You're the guy, man. You're the man in charge.
Right, James, okay, but James, if you want to go after drug dealers, you're going to go after Pablo Escobar, not the guy who picks coca leaves in Colombia, not that guy in the field. You're going to go after the big dog, the guy who gets the coca leaves and processes it and makes all the money and does all the exploiting. That's who you're going to go for. You're going to go for the big dog, the guy who's running the whole show. Some of the Africans, they were just lowly participants who they themselves, many of them got thrown on the ships too. So the ones who sold some of the brothers and sisters, they got thrown on the ships too. So
where's the proof there?
There's many cases where there were some of the people who were enslaving other war criminals, because that's what they were doing. There were wars going on, and they got some of the prisoners of war, and instead of killing them, we'll sell you off. And these weren't their own people. They were selling people who were foreign to their tribes and to their villages. But sometimes the Europeans would just circle back and said, hey, remember the guy you sold me? Get on the boat with him because you're going with him. So they did that too all the time.
So is that not, excuse me, is that not the product of war?
No, because what happens is, if we are being exploited for generations and you're exploiting the labor of a group of people and they built up the biggest, strongest economy for you, you're going to have to pay up. That's not war, that's exploitation, that's abuse, and you got to pay up for that, right?
But you're not understanding exactly what I've just
What?
said. I mean, over 10,000 years. Let's call it 10,000 years.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Individuals, the Irish, for example, were sold into slavery. Okay,
They were
and
indentured.
that's white people.
They were
That's what you would call white people.
that they were indentured servants. They got paid for what they did, sir. They got something called freedom dues. They were not working
But
for free.
if you look it up, I mean, you could look it up online all day, and some and most, I would say 77% of black people were sold in as indentured servants as well.
No,
And
we did not.
that is in fact
No,
that is in fact my argument.
that's not true, sir. We didn't get paid. We weren't getting paid. We didn't get paid for
No.
slavery.
Once you were indentured servants, at the point the individual sold you off. They didn't pay you. And unfortunately, yeah, that that kind of that kind of crap does happen, or it did happen back then. But it is the truth. You were sold. And I don't know what to tell you about that situation,
Well, I know.
one way or the other.
Well, I know that we got to be compensated from the government.
No,
Control. Yeah,
no,
yeah. You got to be compensated, sir.
no,
By the government,
no,
U.S. government. Why not? Every other group gets compensated. Why shouldn't we?
no. And you're right. Every other group did get compensated. Uh,
Yeah, every.
the Native American
Yep,
did get compensated.
yep.
Okay,
So
I understand
why should
when you say every other group,
so why should
Latin Americans are not getting compensated for anything
yes? Well,
whatsoever.
what do you mean they didn't get compensated? The hell they didn't. What what
Oh,
what
you believe that?
what happened to them where they didn't get compensated? What happened to them here in the United States where the U.S. government did not compensate them?
So you believe that the Latin American got compensated, right?
Yeah, when the Mexican-American War happened, when Mexico lost, the U.S. gave them like 15 million dollars, just like they did for France.
12, $15 million,
Yeah,
right?
when they
So, but what you're asking for is what?
20 around 20 billion, 20 trillion.
$20 billion,
I'm
right?
trillion. I'm sorry, with the T, trillion, 20 trillion with the T.
$20 trillion now.
Yes.
Yeah. The government in which you're well, been born into and been, I don't know, you're a citizen at this point, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? $35 trillion in deficit, trying to protect you.
Protect
36 trillion,
protect who from what?
trying to protect you from the rest of the world.
That doesn't make sense. What does that mean? I don't get that.
It doesn't make sense at all, right? Of course it doesn't. Why wouldn't?
Who's protecting us from the rest of the world?
Why would it not make sense?
White supremacists abuse us here. We got to get protection from the white supremacists. We have to protect.
Wait. White supremacists, I opened the conversation. Maybe there's 1% of the entire population at this point. Maybe there's 1% who are trying to burn crosses in your front yard.
Those are white extremists. That's not white supremacists. The white supremacists are your local libraries, cops. We're not talking.
No, sir.
We're,
No, sir.
we're not talking about cross-burning Klan members. That's a
No, sir.
no. Y'all like to say white supremacy is only embodied in the caricature of the Klan. That's what a white supremacist is. No.
How much of the population do you believe is actually after you like that?
No, not after me. Maintaining a system that has been
I
designed.
didn't say you. I'm talking about you are saying that you.
Slow you down. Let me slow you down. I see all that after you, all that. No. You maintain a system that has been designed to be inherently oppressive so that the oppression runs on automatic. So you don't have to go out here and kick black people and hang them every week like you used to. You have a system that's running on automatic that's automatically oppressive, and you check in on that system every blue moon, just like you're doing human resources, you're doing quality control. You check in on the system. Are the black people downtrodden? Well, the system is working great. Are black people still struggling and they're doing worse than everybody? Well, the system is working great. Now, when black people start doing a little too well, wait a minute. We got to oil this machine a little bit. We got to make a couple of adjustments. There's a whole town of black people with jobs and everybody's eating good. So let's tweak this system a little bit. Let's bring in some illegals and flood these cities and kind of dissipate that energy. We don't want them doing too good. So that's what I'm saying, sir. It's an oppressive system so that a lot of people don't have to get their hands directly dirty. So are you going to negate that that's not a system that we're in, sir? Mr. Perry, hop on, sir. Unmute your microphone, Mr. Perry. Mr. Perry, unmute your microphone. Okay, well, he's probably still talking and don't understand that he's muted. So while there he is.
I'm sorry.
There it is. There we go.
I'm here.
All right.
You must have muted my microphone,
Yes.
and I'm okay with that.
Yes, because I was talking and I wanted to get my point out. So yeah,
Right.
why shouldn't we get compensated? Why shouldn't we get compensated, Mr. Perry?
But I don't believe that there's $20 billion or $20 billion involved here.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, this country has it. This country spends that kind of money.
No. Like how does that even work? You would have to give me the numbers.
20 trillion. That's the number. And
20 trillion. I mean that's what you've said that, and I don't even believe there's 20 billion involved.
Why not?
Because essentially, what are you looking for? A handout? Do you actually need more than the average American
It's the debt.
working their asses off every day trying to get educated, just like you are?
Oh no, paying a debt is not a handout. That's not there's a debt that's owed. This country owes a debt. That's not a handout. The handout was that free labor my family had to provide for 200 damn years.
But what you're saying is that it was free labor. But and just as I said before, your family was sold into slavery by your own people.
But no, that doesn't count because
How does that not count?
Because those countries in Africa don't exist no more. The Africans who sold to the white supremacists, they got thrown into slavery too. So the white supremacists who run the U.S. government, they are responsible because they.
So, but you said that they don't exist anymore. But most of the situation in which you're talking about doesn't exist anymore.
The U.S. government still exists, sir. The U.S. government didn't Hey, those Africans did a bad thing by selling us those folks. No, they got us and then worked us for centuries, sir. So
They beat you over and they won in war. Okay.
they're,
Period. At the
but
end.
no,
And they took
and
you
in war,
and they sold you into slavery.
you compensate. That's what the Marshall Plan was in Europe. Y'all gave Europe a bunch of money. Um,
No,
yes, you did.
we're talking about Europe
No, we're
here.
talking about
We're
war.
not
No, no,
talking
no,
about the United
no. Slow
States.
down, because the U.S. decimated parts of Europe, and they compensated Europe. So even people who you're at war with, you will compensate them. We have to be compensated. If your argument is that, well, we're just victims of war and we lost the war, compensate the victims of war. That's what we're saying. The war victims have to be compensated, right? Mr. Perry has to realize that he has to unmute himself. Unmute yourself, Mr. Perry.
I would say that you would compensate.
Compensate what? Go ahead, Mr. Perry. You can't say you were at war with people, because the thing is, you were enslaving
What?
children. Y'all had children who were enslaved.
Why do you keep muting
Now,
me?
listen to what I'm saying. You're not at war with a damn baby. Y'all were enslaving children in this.
No, I said every time thus far that you need to compensate the black people, the individuals who fought in the Civil War of the United States.
No,
That's
no,
it.
you compensate all the foundational Black Americans. Oh,
No,
yeah.
no,
Why
sir.
not?
No,
Why
sir.
not?
Nope.
Why?
You were sold into slavery by your own people.
And you
I'm
didn't have
sorry.
didn't have to
I'm
buy them.
sorry about that, and it sucks.
Didn't have to
But the
buy them.
fact of the matter is that
Didn't have to buy them. All right. They didn't force you. You went over there with slave ships. You were gonna put somebody on them ships. All right. Miss me with that. Nobody made these white supremacists and forced them into opening up the slave trade. They went over there with slave ships. They were going to bring some people back. Also, you enslaved the Black Aboriginal people who were already here in the Americas too. So you were enslaving people everywhere you went. You're not going to say, well, that person sold you. That doesn't matter. That country don't exist no more. The US exists still, though. You see how that works? The United States still exists, and the United States, they still owe. They have to compensate us, sir. And basically, you're kind of doing I'm white and I say so. And I'm white and I say so just doesn't work, because I'm a foundational Black American and I say so. You got to compensate us. And I'm a foundational Black American and I say so. See how that works?
no, and I do not understand how that works, and there's no reason for that.
Yeah, there's
There's
a debt.
none whatsoever.
Why wouldn't you pay a debt that's owed? You owe. There's a debt. Why
Your
wouldn't you pay?
degree, your degree of owing a debt is off the charts, and it's stupid.
How so?
It's simply asking for things that actually aren't there.
No, it's there. You owe a debt. There's a debt that's owed. You don't get
No,
to your debt. It don't work like that. You don't wiggle out your debt. You got to pay your debt now.
no,
Yeah, you do.
no. Like I said, not more than $20 billion, and that's all you're going to get.
No, no, no. We're gonna get that 20
If
trillion.
if if
No, no,
I
no,
was the one, if I was the one making the making the decision at this point, it wouldn't be more than 20 billion. I
no,
understand. I
no.
understand that individuals were in a lot of, you know, man, man. I watched a lot of nasty movies,
No, no, James.
and
No,
and
no, no, James. No, no. That's not how it works, sir. You don't get to create a debt and exploit people for trillions of dollars and then try to dictate what you're going to give as far as the debt. No, the debt is the debt. You owe a debt. The debt is the debt. And 20 trillion, uh, that's being nice. because all of the industries in this country was built off of our backs without no exceptions. Every institution in this country is rooted off of our backs. Every single one. We are literally the foundation of everything in this country, all of the wealth and everything. So a debt is owed. 20 trillion ain't bad at all because we've never been compensated. And you guys compensate all these other groups, even non-citizens. So yeah, it's not a big leap of logic to pay the debt that's owed, right, Mr. Perry?
No, you're wrong.
How am I wrong?
My 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 grandfather,
Uh-oh.
all he ever made in his life was $3 million. Okay.
And
And my grandfather on the other side, all he ever made was $1.5 million.
and what was
Okay.
that?
So how is that handed down to me as a grandchild? That my parents were not very good at doing what they're supposed to do in life. So how do you expect $20 trillion? How do you expect that?
Yeah, because
Off of what?
there was
What?
there
5, 6 generations?
were
But
20.
we'll call it. We'll call
Oh,
it.
let me explain. There was over $20 trillion worth of damage and abuse and subjugation done to us. Way over 20 trillion, just generationally. Non-stop trauma, abuse, exploitation, rape, beatings, just nonstop psychological abuse, health abuse, nonstop. And these things still resonate with us and they're passed down generationally. Even certain health issues were born out of slavery that's been passed down within our community. So many things that we are still suffering from to this day, generationally. And there's so many things that your community is benefiting from to this day. The money and the resources that were made during slavery, they're passed down generationally, and they're compounded and they're accrued and they're built upon, and you're still living off of that legacy of exploitation. You can sit up and talk about how your granddad didn't have, he only had $3 million. I mean, boo the hell who, all right? You came over here knowing that there were some black people who were being exploited, and you wanted in on the bag, and that's what your family did. Compensation is needed, Mr. James, right?
No, your own people sold you into slavery.
And it
Like
wasn't my own.
that's the root. That's the root of the problem right there. If you want
What's
compensation, go after somebody in Africa for that.
who?
I don't care. Hey,
No, no, no,
get the
no,
genetics.
no,
Get the
no.
genetics. Find
They
out who it is that's in
they
power,
don't exist.
and make
Nations,
sure
they,
that you're.
we're not running after non-existent African nations. The nations don't exist no more. The U.S. government exists. The U.S. government that was enslaving us, the African nation didn't do shit to us. The U.S. government enslaved us. We couldn't get out of slavery because of the U.S. government. That's the problem, sir. When we tried to escape, they had the Fugitive Slave Act that would come get us. When we tried to go down to Florida, which was owned by Spain, they sent the U.S. Army down there. We had to fight the Seminole War. There was black people fighting the U.S. government. We had to go hide off in swamps and shit to run away from the U.S. government and fight them off of us. The U.S. government kept us enslaved. We couldn't get out of slavery because of the United States government. You understand? And that's who has to compensate us. That government is still here. The government is still here.
And like I said, so how do you still come out with $20 trillion? You're the number is absolutely asinine.
No,
We
it's
we
not.
we make nukes. We make nukes for less than $1 billion.
Don't give a damn.
I
We
know
are.
you don't give a damn. That's your problem right there. You don't give a damn.
Because everybody has to prioritize everything else except compensating us. We're not playing that game no more. It's time to give us what's owed. There's a debt that's owed. And all of these excuses to not pay a debt, you can't do that with any other debt. If you owe a debt, if you get some sofa and some furniture on time, and if you renting to own, and you haven't paid them, you can't talk shit to the people when they call for the money. You can't sit here and say, well, damn it, you rent a center, you asking for a handout. No, you owe me for this furniture you got from us.
Like I said, you'd settle out of court for $5 billion.
No,
Period. At the end.
we gonna need that 20 trillion.
No, you're not. No, no, it wouldn't even be even remotely close to $1 trillion.
Because listen, y'all spend that anyway trying to subjugate us. It would just be wise to just give us the money. When,
No,
no,
y'all don't.
all y'all, because whenever there's uprisings in this country, you spend billions and billions of dollars on military weapons, just throwing money away. I remember doing the Freddie Gray uprisings.
But you
They,
just settled my point right there.
how so?
The fact of the matter is that the military does in fact protect you from all of the rest of the world.
No, who's protecting us from the white supremacists here? The military weapons were on us. They were directed at us. How you mean? Well, no, you're not going to tell that lie. The military, they've been using the military against us for centuries. They would send the military down to get black people in Florida. They would try to send the military to the swamps, but they would kill the people so they couldn't go in the swamps. They would use the military against us. In the 50s and 60s, they used the National Guard against us. During Tulsa, Oklahoma in the 1920s, when we built up our economies and our communities, they were working with the military and local police to bomb the areas. The first time a bomb was put on this land in America, it was dropped on black people by the white supremacists, sir. Protect who? Who you protected? When you're dropping bombs on us, the second time they dropped a bomb was in Philadelphia with a black organization called the Move Organization. They blew up a whole city block in Philly. Who you're protecting? Protecting who? We go down to these protests in Ferguson and Baltimore and all these cities, and they got military tanks and they're shooting rubber bullets at us. Who are you protecting, sir? You're not going to run that game. No, we need compensation. You're not going to sit here and talk about how much you protect us and we're vulnerable to all types of white supremacist attacks. Yeah, we need to be compensated. Right? Go ahead, Mr. James. And
As
then
I said, no, and I keep getting muted, and I'm okay. I'm okay with that. You know,
right.
you're
James, let me get
you're the man. You know,
let me get Cyber Gina, hop in there. Then I'm gonna get Brother McCall. Cyber Gina, hop in, beloved. Cyber Gina, you in here, dear? Cyber Regina, where you at, dear?
Oh, I was trying to get my mic. Okay. Good morning, Tariq. I've been trying to get you for the last couple of weeks, but I couldn't get up. And I'm on the road. So I woke up and I said, let me see if he's on. Okay. First, I wanted to talk about Eric Aaron's, but before that, I want to address what Mr. Perry was saying.
Yeah.
You know, the biggest problem is with most of the people in the country right now is that they don't realize that we have a firm grasp of our history.
Yes.
They want to tell us who we are. We know who we are. And I'm
Yeah.
just going to talk to him about the Irish. My mother's family comes from Southern Maryland. Okay, they've been there for hundreds of years. They were American Indians. How do I know? Because the Jesuits enslaved them. There were Negroes in Maryland, and then there were saltwater Negroes. The saltwater Negroes were the ones that came from the Caribbean and African, and they did not want the saltwater Negroes to match with the Negroes. And you can look this up. Go and Google saltwater Negroes. The other thing is the matriarch of our family is a woman named Eleanor Butler, who came from Lord Calvert, Calvert County, and Lord Baltimore, Baltimore, the city. He bought an indentured Irish servant named Eleanor Butler. She was 15 years old. She met a slave named Charles, and they called him Negro Charles. She married him. And Lord Baltimore had a fence, said, you can't marry him because you will become a slave. She did not care. She married him, had kids, she became a slave. And that became so prevalent in Maryland that they had to make a law to stop these white Irish women from marrying these Negro slaves. But what they did was, since you become a slave, we're going to make a law that if your mother is white, you can get free. And then they had to sue like 100 years later to get free, to say, hey, my ancestors white, I need to be free. And they had to sue and they got free. So he doesn't know what he's talking about the indentured servants. The indentured servants, the males, did get paid. After 7 years, and I learned this in elementary school. How does he not know this? After
Hi.
7 years, they got free, they got land, and they got work. They were not held in perpetuity for slavery. He's a liar. And if you want to really learn about United States, you have to go back to the 13 colonies. The other thing is, I want to talk about Eric Adams. Eric Adams is Jamaican. New York has been infiltrated since the 60s, and I'm really looking at it really, really, really closely. And I'm looking at these 13 colonies because I'm wondering, does the UK really want its colony back? If you look at these 13 original colonies, all of the mayors and the governors are being infiltrated by people who come from the UK Commonwealth. Let's take New York. The governor is Irish. Her lieutenant governor, Delgado, he tried to mask himself as Latino. The Latino said, hell no, you're not Latino, because he's from Cape Verde. Cape Verde is from Africa. It's part of the UK Commonwealth. Let's look at Maryland. You have the new governor. He's Jamaican. Who did he pick for his lieutenant governor? An Indian. Both countries are from where? The UK Commonwealth. And it's going down. Now you have this Jamaican in Virginia. Virginia is one of the 13 colonies as well. She's from where? Jamaica. She's trying to mask herself like Kamala. I'm black, I'm black, I'm black. You have Nikki Haley, who was from India. She's South Carolina. Is that not one of the 13 colonies? We better wake up. And the basis and the fruit of this country are the foundational Black Americans whose identity has been changed over and over and over again. This is our country. This is our land. I want us to wake up. And then one of the things my aunts used to always say, and we used to laugh about this. Anytime somebody was coming into our family, they would say this: who are your people? And then I saw something yesterday that was a code word amongst our people. When somebody was coming into our communities, who are your people? We need to start asking, who are your people? We just can't let people infiltrate into the FBA community anymore. It's a detriment. They're there to subvert, to undermine, and we have to get our country back. This is our country, because they act like we never fought in any wars. We fought in every single war. The War of 1812, the Revolutionary War. Are we supposed to believe that the same people who came over from England, who were getting their asses kicked by the British, the Scots, the Irish, all of a sudden come over to the United States, and 40 years later, because they came in the 1700s, 40 years later, they were able to beat the British back by themselves? No, they had our help, because we didn't fight stupid like them. We didn't walk up to them with stupid bayonets and just start killing each other. We were like, what is that? We taught them guerrilla warfare. And if you look at the whole seaboard of the history of our country, the way it was, they never talk about the Eastern Band of the American Indians, like the Seminoles, the Powhatan community. They never talk about that. We were already here. And yes, there were 400,000 slaves that came and mixed in. And like you say, there was an ethnogenesis. All I'm saying is, for our people, the FBAs, go and pull back your history. Go and pull your records. Your family's records are there, because we were under the English system, and the English, they recorded everything. And also the Catholic Church recorded everything, because they were baptized in every record. And anytime any child is baptized from the beginning of the time, that record goes back to the Vatican. All the marriages, all the baptism, all the births. We're recorded. We're probably the most recorded and documented people in the history of the world. And they know
Yes.
that. And it's frightening to them because we're waking up now.
Mm-hmm. Cyber Regina, sister, you cooked on that one.
Uh,
Sister. Oh
I
my
do
goodness.
so much information. I was just telling my friend something who I was in the military with, and she was just like shocked. I mean, I have so much, but I can't go into all of it. One of these days we'll get together. But I'm working on a book and an article because this thing is very serious. It's more than us. They need to get rid of us. Who's the constant in this country that has kept this country together? When they
That's up.
won, they sent us over to France to help. We fought in World War One. We fought in World War Two. The black
Mm-hmm.
and they mock us. This is what makes me pissed off. Like Black Panther. You know who the original Black Panthers are?
Mm-hmm.
It's a tank battalion that fought in World War Two under.
Right.
They don't want to talk about how they didn't like Patton so much, and they thought they were doing him wrong by giving him all black soldiers. He said, if you go back and look at Patton, he said the American Negro are the most fiercest soldiers in the history of the world. That's the
They
black.
would not they would not have won the Civil War if it were not for the black fighters. The black fighters won the Civil War.
Exactly, because we were getting their butts kicked. You cannot tell me the same people who were getting their asses kicked consistently by the British all of a sudden learned how to fight.
Right. Right. My man, thank you, Cyber Regina. Thank you so much. That's just a cook. Family, do we need to get Cyber Regina in the new Hidden Colors? Do we need to put Cyber Regina in the new Hidden Colors movie? That's just to be cooking. We need to put her in the new Hidden Colors movie. How do you look on camera, sis? How do you look on camera? I mean, we might get her in the new movie, man. This is to be cooking with oil. Mr. James, you still here, sir?
Yes, sir.
Yes, indeed. So, yeah, the whole narrative that protected us, I don't know. I don't know. We protected a lot of you guys, and we still need to be compensated. We've done a lot. If it weren't for Foundation of Black Americans, you'd probably still be over there in Ireland eating a potato, brother. So you really gotta show that respect and pay the debt that's owed. That's the right thing to do.
But honestly, you're like I said, you're the asking of what you're looking for is just not there, and it's not uh
It's
it's not possible.
it's there and it's possible, and we're going to get that paper. We're gonna get it. And
That
and James,
that
James, when I
that
get
$20 trillion, you say.
James, when I get my reparations check, I'm going to take you to a nice restaurant, possibly the Cracker Barrel. I'll take you to
The
one of your
Cracker
favorite.
Barrel, you say? Oh, I'm
Yes,
so honored.
you don't want to go to the Cracker Barrel? I'll pay
No,
for
sir. No.
it. Come on, man. That's a fine. That's fine dining.
No.
Yeah, hey, they got great grits at the Cracker Barrel. I will take you a full
Yeah,
Cracker
I
Barrel.
know what you're trying to negotiate here, but the fact of the matter is that that's just not going to work out. If I'm going to put myself on the line right here in front of all of these people, uh, the fact of the matter is that we are all supposed to be unionized. We need to be in unity,
And,
and unfortunately,
and
I see.
let's unite that money. All right. That's how we can be in unity. Unite us with the money that's owed. Let's start there. All right. Thank you so much, James. Yeah, that's how we can unite. Unite my money. Break bread. Let's get all right in here.
Thank you very much for the floor time, you guys. I really appreciate it. Something that Cyber Gina said is something I've been thinking about for a while. When I was growing up, my both my grandparents were in the Navy, and my dad was friends with somebody. I guess you could refer to him as a foundational black. He was a big old black dude, but when I was growing up, I didn't know who he was until later on. My dad told me that he was General Patton's personal bodyguard in North Africa during World War II. and he was part of the, part of exactly what Gina was talking about, the blacks that helped the U.S. take North Africa during World War II.
Yeah.
So that is historically accurate, and something I was just, it's been on my mind lately. I was looking into some stuff about the freedmen bureaus, and just kind of how, because I got like a alternative history growing up. My dad was just kind of, he was a little different. He just hated the Vatican, the British monarchy, and the IRS. Those are
Yeah.
the only three things he hated. He wasn't racist. Never heard him say anything derogatory about anybody, but he hated the British monarchy. And another thing that she said about the British getting into our system in these commonwealths is they did it through the courts of chancery in Delaware. So it's there's something called the Titles of Foreign Nobility Act. We're not supposed to have dukes or earls or duchesses or princes or anything in our government. How come America all of a sudden after the Civil War was crawling with esquires, with attorneys, so many attorneys in running for political office? And it is like the British got right back in the back door. We got our capital sacked, the War of 1812. They burnt down our capital. You think we didn't have to cut some deals? And it's yeah, man, like from what I can tell, it's like, yeah, man, like my old man told me a long time ago. He's like, yeah, look at the Navajo, the wind talkers, that saved our ass during the Pacific campaign in World War II. They had to translate the codes into Navajo to where the Germans couldn't crack it. It was the only one of the only codes that wasn't cracked by or I'm sorry, by the Japanese, was the languages of the Native Americans. And it's like the whites have always had to have their ass saved by either Native Americans or black people. And
Yeah.
I'm sorry, dude, like, I don't know. It's just, it's something like all this stuff has kind of been on the back of my mind for a long time. And now I'm looking at all this stuff happening in modern times, with this Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy talking about the Department of Government Efficiency. From what I understand, they are going to do some sort of wealth redistribution, because everything since the Federal Reserve 1913, they us, that the war tax was supposed to be temporary, and then even the whites had their gold seized in 1933. And Congressman Louis T. McFadden from Pennsylvania brought formal charges against the IRS and orders of impeachment against the Department of the Treasury, and that was never resolved. So I think Ron Paul is kind of picking up where Louis T. McFadden left off, and all this shit better come back to us, and the blacks that that helped us build the entire east coast of the United States and the railroad systems. Damn right, they better get paid. And the Hawaiians that had their land taken by the federal government after after Hawaii got illegally annexed.
Right.
It's like, man, there are a lot of stupid white trash people that don't understand how much dirty laundry we got in our closet that needs to get aired out.
Yes,
It's
indeed.
like,
Yes, indeed. Thank you so much. Yeah, real heavy stuff, man. Real heavy stuff. And we're deep in here. Shout out to everybody in here. We're in here real deep. Shout out to everybody in here. We're gonna get some more folks in here. Let's get Anthony in here. Mr. Anthony, hop in.
Can you hear me?
Oh, that's right. Rodrigo.
Yeah, I don't agree with this reparations thing. I think it's divisive because as a person of color,
Get your here. All right. Get your ass out of here. You're not gonna get in this room. I don't care how many fake accounts you make. That's a Puerto Rican tether who tries to pretend to be a foundational black American, by the way, guys. That's that Puerto Rican tether who's a fake wannabe FBA. So no, he always creates different accounts and try to get in here to spew his talking points, and we don't give him no airtime. So take your ass in there and you make you some menudo.